Hi everybody, my name is Jason and I'm with the Yahuwah and the Torah channel, and we are going over an incredible book that is inside of Yah Scriptures, and it's actually the very last book in Yah Scriptures. And we have 103 books in Yah Scriptures that are 100% fully restored with the name of our Creator, with the name of His Son, and they are very incredible reads. And this entire Yah Scriptures project, where we have been able to deliver scriptures out to the prisoners, has been an incredible time in our lives. It has been something we have been absolutely blessed with, that our Creator has allowed us to touch His Word, to put it together, to get it distributed. And it is within this scriptures that you guys can find at yahscriptures.com that you can find books like this. And these are the words of our Messiah. And for those who do not know who our Messiah is, we have all come to know Him as Jesus Christ. But because there's no J's in Hebrew, the Hebrew name of our Creator would have never been Jesus. It was Yahushua. And what that means, it means a couple different things. It means Yah is with us. It means salvation. Yeshua is another form of Yahushua. And so there's a lot of folks that say Yeshua. I say Yahushua. And I don't think there's a wrong way when we're getting as close to this as there is. And we're also looking at this in Paleo Hebrew. And so as I go through this book of Khalidi, or the book of the Nazarene, I want to comment on a lot of things in here, because this is one of my now go-to books when it comes to trying to understand the Torah better, because this is coming out of the Word made flesh. This is coming out of Messiah Yahushua, the one who was with His Father before creation ever was created. And so He knows the heart, mind, and soul of His Father unlike anyone else. And so He is who our King is. And He is who our Melchizedek priest is. And this is who we need to listen to. And we have two different things in scriptures that say man is saved by. It's saved by those who trust and who obey the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator, and those who have the faith of Messiah Yahushua. And so this is the words of Messiah Yahushua. He tells us that He comes not on His own ways, but He comes on the ways of His Father. He comes because His Father sent Him, and He doesn't invent anything new. And all of what He speaks to us in is the same thing that His Father told us, and is also a part of the Torah. And so here we are. We will begin with the 3rd chapter, and this is one of these longer verses. And because I want to discuss this, I don't know if I'll make it through this entire chapter, but we'll begin like this. Coming from the wilderness, Yahushua still retained the full power of the Ruach HaKodesh. And for those who have never heard this series, the Ruach HaKodesh is what you guys would know as the Holy Spirit. It's the power of our Creator. And so what that says right there says the Son of the Most High is able and has full power of the Ruach HaKodesh. Having it on trusteeship from Elohim, He would not use it unworthily. At night it shone around Him like a pale blue haze, and though many have it, never has another manifested it in such strength. And the only other time that we have heard of in regular scriptures where people's faces are shining because of the power of our Creator is Moses, when he was in with our Creator. He came out, and when he came down from Mount Sinai, his face was shining. It scared everybody. And so that is something to be said, that those who are close to our Creator have a different kind of I guess you would say as an aura, or you would have something else, but it is there. And the power of the Ruach HaKodesh can manifest in all of us. It is a gift from our Creator. It is His outreach to us. Verse 2. 2 followers of Yochanan the forerunner, one being Andre, the brother of Shimon, were sent by him to be with Yahushua, and accompanied him by the Sea of Galilee of the nations. Early in the morning, Andrew sought out his brother and said, "We have found the deliverer." But at the time, Shimon thought it was another was meant. When Yahushua was known, when Yahushua had known Shimon for 2 days, he said, "You are strong. silent and steady, one likely to be ever steadfast in conflict. Therefore you shall be called Kepha, this meaning the rock, in the tongue of the nations. And from that day, Kepha became a follower of Yahushua. And this is another understanding of exactly where Peter came from. And for those who do not know, when Kepha, we're talking about Peter, right? And again, when we're reading regular scriptures like the King James, none of these names were in English. So Peter's name was never called Peter. It was Shimon Kepha. And this is what he was known as. Shimon was his name. Kepha, meaning the rock, is what our Messiah named him. 4. Passing along the shore, they came up on the Tower of Fishermen, and a boat was being unloaded by its owners. One who accompanied Yahushua said, "Those are good men, known to me." Then Yahushua spoke to them while sharing a meal, and later said, "Fishing is a good life, but there is a better one. Follow me, and you will become fishers of men." So placing their boat in the keeping of others, they followed Yahushua. And, we don't have a tremendous amount of other accounts in scriptures of the disciples, and we don't understand why these men went and they followed Messiah. We don't understand why they would leave their profession and why they would just do this. So this gives us a little bit better understanding that Messiah was hanging out with at least some of them when he was talking about this, having a meal and saying things of this nature. And so it might break the mystery up a little bit to where we are able to understand why it was that people so eagerly just left their entire worlds and followed our Messiah. At that time, Yahushua spoke with caution, for the people still recalled Yehuda from Galilee, who had smitten the Romans in battle. Yahushua was a man of long silences, and many thought him strange. But he taught all along the shore of the Sea of Galilee and called others to follow him. They worked wherever they could, for Yahushua said, "What we offer is not to be sold like common chattel, and we will not take anything without giving value in return." And so this is something very interesting as well. And we have this in the Besorah, in the good news, the what you guys would call the Gospels. We have something kind of like this, but this gives us a little bit more on that Messiah and his people were out there. They were working along with other things that they were doing, and the premise or the understanding is that the word of our Creator is not to be sold. It's not to be. This is not something that is you're not to have this as a commodity because you have something that is so good. That's one of the reasons that Yah Scriptures, the very first thing that we did is that we put out the free PDF of the entire Apocrypha as far as the main scriptures. Everything that we have is free. All of our software is free. Everything that we physically can give away free, we absolutely do. And so there have been tens of thousands of people that have been able to download this. And these are verses like this where we have come to the understanding that you got to be very, very careful when you're touching the word of our Creator, that it doesn't enhance your life, that it does not make you can't make a living on the word of our Creator. I don't believe that is correct. That may be a wrong understanding, but that is how we work and that's how we operate. Now, going on to 7, it says, "He healed many, saying, 'It is not I, but the power from above with me.' Some of the Talmudians said, 'It is truly he who heals.' But he did not cure all, for in some it created a disturbance, while many were not cured because this would have done them more harm than good." And this is again something that we don't hear in regular scriptures. I can't recall too many times when our Messiah had turned down folks, but it is obvious that there are times and there were times where Messiah didn't heal folks because healing them, they would have gone out and become evil, or they would have done evil, or it didn't change the purpose. And Messiah is here to bring people to the kingdom. He's here so that we can, that we have a way forward. And so this is a very interesting part of this. 10, when asked, "How do you heal?" Yahushua replied, "By the finger of Elohim." This is what the Nebiim had said regarding these things. These are the words of Yahuwah. "I will restore you to health and heal your wounds. Be strong of heart and courageous, neither afraid nor dismayed, for I am with you always." And so this is a again, understanding that how did our Messiah heal, right? It is not by his power. He's always said that everything that he has comes from his Father. The Torah comes from his Father. His power comes from his Father. His understanding of all of everything that he knows came from his Father, which is why he is the right answer for understanding. And if we are stuck in the Christian religion, that we have a Jesus that is a grace-giving Jesus, that you don't have any laws, you don't have any commandments, you don't have any structure, and you can eat whatever food you want to eat, because as what the Christians say, they say that Jesus died so that all food could be made clean. And that is a very, very wrong understanding of anything inside of Scriptures. And it's very, very sad when we have come to this. And so let's continue on. 11. About this time, the Talmudian questioned Yahushua concerning the world of the Ruach, wherein lay the reign of the Shamayim. And again, the reign of the Shamayim, we're talking about what you guys would call heaven, or the kingdom to come, right? The reign of the kingdom to come. And he said, it is like a flight of stairs leading from cellar to roof. They who enter the house are given a place on the stairs and may step downwards and back, but never up. Though the stair above is not unknown to them, those on the top stair are in glorious sunshine, while those at the bottom are in darkness and gloom. And this is one of these things that, guys, our position in the kingdom to come, or in the hell to come that we are going to be in if we are not seeking our Creator right now, this is the example of this, right? We will be in a place of dire consequences if we end up in Sheol, if we end up in hell. And it is clear when we have stories of Lazarus and the rich man, is that the rich man was able to see the other places, kind of. He was able to know that there was something out there, or able to communicate, and he could go downwards, but he is never able to go up. We're never able to go out of the existence of the final place that we have put ourselves into, which is why if we are not in Torah, if we are not obeying Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy as our entire rules for life, we are making a tragic mistake, because inside of those rules is where we will be judged by. These same rules set is how we will figure out those who will be told to depart because you are lawless, or those who are told to enter the kingdom because you've been lawful. And a lot of people will say, Jason, you're legalistic. And I will reply to folks that what is the opposite of legalistic? It's illegal. And if we are illegal in the eyes of our Creator based upon what He has said in Scriptures, then we are to expect that we need to go back down and into this darkness, into this, not the glorious sunshine, into darkness and gloom. A Talmud said, many who do not come mock your words. Yahushua replied, dogs bite stones, not those who throw them. And, I'll be honest with you guys on this one. I sat and I thought about this one, and I still have thought about this. And the truth is that dogs do bite stones. And probably because dogs will actually, they will chew on rocks. And I don't know if it's like they're looking for nutrients or something of the sort, but they do bite stones. Now, when it says not those who throw them, I think what it's talking about is that when you chuck a rock at a dog, or you chuck a rock at people, they always run. For the most part, the dogs aren't going to bite those who throw them. So when we're talking about that, I think what Messiah is talking about here is that these guys that are talking about mocking these words have no bite. They're just chucking rocks. They have no power to them or anything of the sort. And so not to worry about it, because there's a tremendous amount that will always mock you, especially if you're talking about the kingdom, especially if you're talking about our Messiah and about Torah. People will laugh at you when they find out that you're a law keeper. And so if you are a law keeper, it's one of those things. You're going to get mocked. But at the same time, Messiah was mocked, and he told us if he was, then we would be as well. 13. Someone asked, are you the hammer of Elohim? For all yearn for Elohim's intervention. And when that comes, we'll rejoice, saying, this is the day of Yahuwah, for which we have long waited. Yahushua answered, there is a time for sowing and a time for reaping, everything to its appointed time. Yahushua gathered his followers around him, and taught as follows. These days are a night of ignorance, when all is dark. But I am the light which will dispel the darkness. My light will light your lamps, and you too will become bearers of the light. I am the light to point the way, and none can find the way to Yahuwah except by the light. Now, this is a reiteration of many, many things that we have heard in scriptures, that no man will come to the Father except through the Son. And there is the Son that tells us that if you are lawless, Matthew 7, that you will be told to depart. So you will neither see the Father nor the Son. But to get to the kingdom to come is going to be led by Messiah Yahushua. So if you are not happy with Messiah Yahushua, if you do not think that is the way to the Father, that's what Scriptures tells us. That is the way to the Father. And so our faith needs to be in the Son of the Most High, that he came and that he died for our sins, not to sin, but to forgive it for the past sins. Right? The difference between the living in sin and repenting is that when we repent, we are not going back to the way of darkness. And so we will not find the Father except if we have the Son. And most of the time you will not find the Son unless you have the Father. The Old Testament is the New Testament revealed, and the New Testament is the Old Testament concealed. And when we have this understanding that it is all one large book with all of the exact same message, that is what will be very helpful, because many people will take 7/8 of the way through the book, and they will take Rabbi Shaul and they will say, look, a man has said the law is no more. A man has said all of these things. A man who we don't understand, because Scripture says you will not understand the words of Paul, says something that you don't understand. And because of that, you are now followers of Paul. You are Paulistinians. Because if you follow that the laws are dead, which is not supported in Scriptures, even with Brother Shaul, with even your understanding of Brother Shaul, we're doing this in ignorance. The Scriptures and the laws and the commands are for all times, all generations, all families, all peoples, everybody. 16. I come to testify concerning the Father. For those concerning my way see Elohim in the light of the Father. Does not a father chastise in love and punish with affection? Does he not give you tasks only just within your power of accomplishment? Even as with an earthly father, so with the Father of the Shamayim, who is infinitely greater. Being flesh, we understand earthly ways, but the ways of Yahuwah may also be known and understood. For his Ruach resides in all men. Now, this is Messiah coming to testify for his Father. One of the things that this does right here is that the Father and the Son are separate entities. We know from Scriptures, when you are testifying or you are putting yourself out and saying something, that it comes at the behest of multiple witnesses. That would mean that if the Father and the Son and the Ruach HaKodesh are all the exact same thing, then we don't have multiple witnesses at this level. We have a Messiah who's coming and is talking about his Father and about the love of a father, because any father that does not punish their children does not love them. The problem with the world that we live in is we have children who are unpunished and they grow up to become wild rebels because they don't have governors. They don't have a line in the sand which they have been told not to cross. So what it's talking about here is it's talking about us and the things that we have, that our Creator gives us things that we can handle. And the Scriptures is very clear that it says our Creator will not give us more than what we can handle. And so our Creator is watching us. He's taking care of us. He's giving us stuff to test us, to make sure that we are loyal to him. If everything was easy, if there was no problems in the world, if you could just ice skate right through this with no problems, with not falling off your ice skates, then what would it be if we had a world without any kind of testing? The testing is who is loyal to the words of our Creator, who will be loyal to what he says to do, and who will be obedient. And that's what it is looking for. And Messiah is trying to get this, that look, if we understand what the love of a earthly father does, imagine how much better having our Father in the Shamayim, who understands his exact creation and is walking with us day after day. 17, be upright in faith yourselves and teach uprightness and truth. Fear no man, especially the rich and powerful, for they lived in servitude to their possessions and position. You must carry the light to many, but few will be those who light the lamp of their lives from it. Right? These are hard things, right? Possessions and money. It's easier for a rich man to make it through the eye of a camel than it is to, and in fact, it's actually the eye of it. That's not the saying, but what he was talking about is there's a little itty bitty tiny gate in Jerusalem that you can't get a camel through. And so it's easier for a rich man to make it through that with a camel than it is to make it through it with a Shamayim. And so it's nearly impossible for that camel to make it through that little tiny entrance. And so we have to understand that sometimes living in brokenness, living in being poor, is it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And so there's a lot of things that we wouldn't be the same people if we were rich. We probably wouldn't conduct ourselves the same way. And, riches take over the people, which is what we're just about to talk about. Do not covet riches, for though a few men possess them, all who do are not free, but are themselves possessed by their wealth. Because riches are the possession of a few, all seek them. Even so are my words. Were they possessed by all, none would value them. And again, this is if everybody understood the truth of our Creator and his Son, it would be a different world. But people don't care, and they just really don't care. One said to Yahushua, Adonai, we are not all like Yochanan, who could surely eat bread made with sand. Is there no easy way? Yahushua said, the only easy paths in life lead nowhere, or are cut by others. But the path I point can be cut by none but yourselves. Guys, this is something to understand, right? When it comes to the path of righteousness, when it comes to this narrow path, when it comes to making this kingdom, there isn't an easy way. The easy way is when we smell like the world, taste like the world, look like the world, and we are the world, because that's the easy place to be. But that's what we're called to separate ourselves from. That's what we're called to pull ourselves away from. We need to understand the path to the kingdom is not easy. It's not going to be easy. And Hasatan doesn't like those who love the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. The book of Revelation clearly talks about him going to war and waging war against those who love the ways of our Creator. Going on, 20. A peddler going from place to place is willing to undergo the hardships incurred through his wandering in order to earn his livelihood. Even so, should you be prepared to cheerfully accept the hardships imposed by life in order to gain glory in the life which follows. So again, he gives us a understanding that a guy that's out there, and I can tell you a story down here in third world countries, they have these little ice cream guys, and these guys, they're essentially a peddler. And they will have a big truck, and the truck will pull up, and they'll drop a couple of ice cream guys off, and you will see them walking highways where there doesn't seem to be anyone forever. They're wandering, and every once in a while somebody will come up from somewhere and get an ice cream. But I don't know how these people actually make a living. But it is one of these things that it is a hardship when they walk and they walk and they walk. And down here in the tropical jungle, it gets really wet. And so these guys will be out there and they'll be under a bus stop or taking their little cart under something. But it's a hard life. So these guys are still doing it. They're ringing their bells and they're selling their ice cream. So this is where this verse comes into, that even we should be prepared to cheerfully accept the hardships imposed by life in order to gain glory in the life which follows. right? This is where we need to be those people who are productive and bear fruit to the kingdom, and that we are doing this in a cheerful manner, that we are not just looking at ourselves and looking at our hardships, but that we are looking above that and looking beyond that, because we are in 120 years, which may seem like a tremendous amount of time, but when we're talking about eternity, this is nothing. 120 is going to come, it's going to go, all of us are going to get old, we're all going to die, right? The only thing that we have that we can take out of this world with us is our soul. And our soul is either going to be protected or it's going to be in hardships. And this is the time right now that we can choose, where do we want to go? Who do we want to serve? We can't have two masters. We can only have one. And so if we can only have one, we need to make these decisions and these choices today on who it is we want to follow. Because all of us can take our very last breath at any moment, and that is the end of the end. And then we have to go to judgment based upon what we have done. And this is the time right now that we can all come out of Babylon. We can all change our ways. We can all come to the amazing understanding of our Creator. 21. If a child is not raised with austerity, can it enjoy the pleasures of later life? Only the foolish parent overindulges the child. And if it is done in the name of affection, the parent is either a hypocrite or irresponsible. And so Messiah jumps to this part about raising children, right? If we give our kids everything and they become a wild child and they become old, all the stuff that you gave them as a child, they're not going to be able to fulfill that as an adult. And so they're going to be always looking for that same kind of stuff. And so as parents, we have to limit our kids on stuff, even though we want to give them things. We want them to have the stuff that they want. We have to put our foot down and keep them to the kingdom, keep them in things that are close to the kingdom, and not overindulge them into things that will just make them rotten. 22. Now, close by there was a well, and the Talmudim were drawing water for drinking. Yahushua called them over and said, "Do you find water refreshing?" They replied, "Yes, we have drunk our fill and are refreshed." Yahushua said, "Does any water remain in the well?" They replied, "Adonai," which is master. "This well is inexhaustible and cannot be drunk dry by any number of men." Then Yahushua said, "It is even so with my teachings. What I have revealed so far is but a small portion of the whole, yet it suffices for the present needs. The people among whom we go are perverse and headstrong and like a thirsting donkey, can be given only sufficient to ease their pressing need. If they say to you, 'This is beyond our understanding,' or 'You have told us only in part,' recall this well and the refreshing water you obtained from it." So our Messiah goes into a little bit of leadership training, right? This is what he's talking about, that the well, sometimes people can drink the well and it's done, right? They don't need any more, they're suffice. Sometimes when people are coming out of Babylon, when they're in Christianity or they're in churchianity or they're in all of these religions, it takes time. A lot of times if you inundate them with stuff and they have been programmed by the 501c3 churchianity system, it's going to be hard, and they're not going to get it, right? They're going to say that this is beyond our understanding. You have told us in part. If you're dealing with a what you would call human programming, mind control, that is the what you would call modern day religion, right? And not only are they going to tell you it's beyond their understanding, but they're programmed to tell you this is, Jesus died for our sins. There's no law anymore. That's bondage. Only the old people and Moses had to keep the laws. We don't need to anymore because it's all about grace. Our Creator's about grace, and he didn't like those laws anymore. And those are all lies that you will hear in religianity and churchianity and Christianity. Continue on, and we're going to stop at, I believe, 25. I don't want these too long because these are just really, really golden nuggets of information. 24. One of the Talmudim asked, "How shall we judge what people do, whether it be good or whether it be bad?" Okay, this is a very, very, very good question. Yahushua said, "If you are unsure about a person's actions be good or bad, incline in his favor. If anything may be interpreted favorably or otherwise, then interpret it favorably. Do not seek for wrongdoing like dogs chasing a foul smell. If a good man does something appearing to be bad, then withhold judgment. wondering whether there be some good motive behind it. Yet do not be easily hoodwinked. If one with a bad reputation does something seemingly good, question his motives. But bear in mind that no man is either wholly good or wholly bad. Okay, so what we're talking about right here is that a lot of us will judge, folks. We will judge what we see, and we don't understand the actual intent. Sometimes people with good intent end up doing bad things. Sometimes it doesn't always go well. A lot of times you will get into situations that the best you can get out of is something okay, not great. It didn't end right. But if we're sitting here judging everybody and we're judging them unproductively, that we don't know what it's like, then we're judging them incorrectly. And we have to look for the best in people. This is what we should be doing, is we need to absolutely look for the best in people. A lot of times this comes down to forgiveness. A lot of the times this comes down to that 70 times 7, where we absolutely have to forgive others all the time before the sun sets, so that we don't end up going to bed angry. We don't end up waking up angry. And we're those kind of people. If we are these kind of people that Messiah is talking about in verse 25, these are the guys with the giant planks in their eyes that are always out there battling everybody that has little splinters. And a lot of times we need to look in the mirror and we need to fix ourselves, and we need to heal ourselves first before we attempt to go and fix things in others that may not be wrong according to what our Creator's understanding, or what we think is our Creator's understanding. So guys, with that, I think these are very, very wise words. I think these are amazing things that we have been given. We are in a very amazing time of our world where we are able to recover texts such as this, that we can see the heart, mind, and soul of our Creator based upon his representative, who is his Son. And it is by the blood of the Son that he has broken the curse of the Torah. It is by his blood that he is able to give us not only a priest, a high priest, who isn't an earthly high priest with the issues of an earthly high priest, but we have a high priest who is unblemished. He is not a sinner. He does not, he's the absolutely perfect representative for our communication to our Creator. And he is an amazing entity. And when I say communication to our Creator, I do not mean that we pray to Messiah. That does not mean that. It means that when it comes down to Judgment Day, Messiah is going to be the one giving us the nod or not, and we're going to be judged based upon whether or not we were obedient to the laws, statutes, and commandments of his Father. So with that, guys, much love to all of you guys. Have a wonderful day. I'm out.